What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why NIO might get a bounce tomorrow, or at least on Tuesday, but most likely tomorrow, because of the fact that earnings is coming out very soon, and we're likely going to see some bullish price action, at least temporarily. I'm going to break down why that is, what's going on with the earnings, what you should be watching for, and also what's going on with this share price given what the data is telling us. We also have some bullish news that came out, so I'm going to talk about that as well and what I do expect to happen for tomorrow. But before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, whether it's $1 or $100, it's really up to you. You're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each valued at up to $3,000. And the best part is any could be a free NIO share. It's once again free money. I don't know what you're waiting for. Check it out before they run out. The offer ends in just 2 days. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the video. When it comes to NIO, it has been doing some very, very interesting things. NIO is not necessarily respecting any channel right now or any particular trend line as of right now. It's more like it's just respecting support and resistance levels. And we are seeing different entities continuing to fight when it comes to where they buy the shares and what levels they're trying to defend. Now, in my opinion, I think that NIO has reached a state where it did break below $10 as I predicted in my previous videos. And it's actually trying to base around here temporarily since it is quite oversold after dropping so much in such a short period of time. And I do believe a balance is very likely to happen for the short term. Zooming out of the chart, I want to just talk about this right here. You could see right here, NIO does have this head and shoulders that developed, and it did end up coming down pretty hard. And what happened was we're actually coming to some very, very key levels. We actually bounced off 9.13. We're trying to hold this zone. I mean, could we come all the way down to 9 flats and bounce? That's very possible, but I'm thinking that we're going to get a really nice bounce very soon. That's because on Wednesday, we actually have earnings for NIO before the market opens. And I'm saying this for the perspective of people living in the United States. So for the USA, it's going to be before the market opens on Wednesday. And it's going to be early in the morning. So please be prepared for this. And I do think that NIO is likely going to get a push up as we approach Wednesday. Most likely, it's going to start on Monday. It could actually start on Tuesday as well, but most likely Monday, in my opinion. When it comes to NIO's news, NIO actually announced that on February 16th, the NIO Netherlands launched the 4th power swap station. Once again, very awesome news, and I do believe they're going to continue to expand as time goes on. What's important about earnings is they're going to give us some very good projections about deliveries. They're going to talk about the current state of the economy, how the overall economy is going to affect NIO's performance, and what investors should be expecting over the next few weeks, next few months, and etc. Could they announce some kind of new product? It is possible, but I'm not really counting on it as of right now. I think guidance is going to be very important, and all investors need to watch that super carefully. I will once again give you guys an update on it the day after earnings comes out, or actually I think on the same day it comes out, just a little bit afterwards, after a couple of hours, because I'm not going to be awake at the time, I think, when it's coming out. So I just wanted to put that out there. When it comes to the data, NIO still has some very keen hold and buy ratings, but the share price is at one of the lowest price pairs ratios we've seen in a very long time. In fact, for the last 2 years, meaning NIO has been heavily underperforming. It's very oversold. It looks like it might try to get a bounce. Some bullish news was the fact that Canada's largest pension cut its stake in Apple, and it actually bought Tesla, NIO, and Li Auto. I consider that quite bullish news, because they are buying into NIO, especially right before earnings is starting. In my opinion, this in turn could actually lead to a more positive performance for a lot of EVs. We also have Investor Day for Tesla in just a couple of days, so I do think EVs are going to do a lot better for this week. It's going to be a bullish week. But for NIO, I just want to warn you all, never forget the saying, buy the rumors, sell the news. Meaning that, yes, we could get a pump approaching earnings. I think NIO is going to pump, but there's also the possibility of us getting a big reversal to the downside. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It just is what it is. It depends on earnings. It depends on what shorts end up doing. It depends on how investors interpret it and many other things like that. So for now, I'm not going to worry too much about what earnings causes. I will be releasing a video anyways during that time. For the time being, as we approach earnings, which is going to be Wednesday before the market opens, meaning that Monday and Tuesday are going to be the only full days before earnings, we're likely going to see a bounce in NIO's share price, in my opinion. I think NIO is going to try to get a bounce, and looking at a much smaller time frame, I want to show you guys this right here. We actually have this nice gap that developed. NIO capped down pretty hard not too long ago. We have this gap all the way up here into like the very high nines, getting closer to $10. I think NIO is going to get a nice push to about $10 very soon. It might not seem like a huge move, but that's actually almost 10% to the upside, because NIO is at currently about 9.3. NIO is likely going to get above $10 in my opinion as time goes on, and that is what my target's going to be. So I'm still a lot more on the bullish side for NIO. I think NIO is going to try to make a nice move, and I think we have a lot of potential to see something like that happen. Some important levels to watch, just in case I end up being wrong about the bounce. I want to note that we have support at 9.13 between there and 9. We have a demand zone right over there. Lots of buyers keep stepping in right there. We have a supply zone all the way up to about 9.93 and about $10 for the time being. That's the very important level NIO actually broke below. I think we're going to stay within this range, of course, for tomorrow. If we break lower, then there's 8.76. If we break even higher out of this supply zone, watch 10.4. But anyways, what do I think is going to happen? I think NIO already got a bit of a bounce off 9.13. We're likely going to see this thing chop a bit and then start pushing up and fill this gap, get all the way up to the high nines, maybe approach $10. I'm going to try to see this thing break $10, fight for $10. I think we're going to do this for Monday, and we're likely going to close very close to it, maybe a little bit below $10, but super close. And I do think NIO is going to have a very nice green day for tomorrow. Now, if I end up being one day early and NIO is kind of flat tomorrow, then I expect that to happen for Tuesday. But I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think we're most likely going to see the big bounce start tomorrow. I think NIO is going to try to fill this gap. I think NIO is going to push above $10 later on. I think it's going to come kind of shorts tomorrow to get above $10. I think it's going to close a little below 10, but then for Tuesday is when I think NIO is going to get above $10. I think it really could. I think there's going to be lots of hype. And I do think that NIO has a lot of potential to actually make some nice moves. Now, please remember though, even though I am saying that for the short term, NIO looks bullish, it's going to bounce most likely. I know I'm saying that for the short term, but for the medium term, the market is still looking more bearish because of what just happened with the whole inflationary data, with all the sell signals and the bearish signals we're getting from the overall stock market. All these things are pointing in the direction that the market has more downside for the medium term. Going into like a few weeks into March, going into April, I do see more downside for the markets. Even if NIO pushes to like 10, 11, 12, it's going to likely come down afterwards. Okay, I want to make that very clear. Now, why am I saying that? The VIX got its nice breakout out of its falling wedge. It's continuing to push up. It's going to likely continue pushing. It could come down first and get a nice bounce and then continue going. We're also seeing the same thing on the dollar index. The dollar is just breaking out. This thing is looking strong. Once again, not the best for the bulls in the stock market. It's going to break to 106 very soon. It's going to keep going. And when we break out of these falling wedges, we know what happens typically. We know the dollar likes to keep going. We know the market likes to come down because of it. So anyways, I want to thank each and every one of you so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible weekend. Enjoy what life has to offer. And note that I believe the market most likely has some downside for the medium term, of course, but before that happens, we could get a bit of a bounce. And before the market comes down, I think NIO is going to get a bounce for tomorrow and try to close green tomorrow and also for Tuesday. Earnings is going to be very telling, so please be ready for it. And I'll most definitely see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.